If you are planning to travel to the United States in 2026, whether you are a green card holder returning from a trip abroad, a visa holder entering for work or tourism, or even a naturalized citizen coming home, there is a new CBP phone search policy that you absolutely need to understand. Because under the expanded rules taking effect this year, a single text message on your phone could be enough to trigger a visa revocation, denial of entry, or hours of detention at the airport. My name is James. I have been a senior U.S. immigration professional for 6 years, and through Immigration News Today, I have made it my mission to help travelers understand the rules before they encounter them. Stay with me until the very end of this video, because what I share today could prevent you from losing your visa, your green card, or your ability to enter the United States, all because of something on your phone that you never thought twice about. Let me begin by acknowledging what I know many of you are feeling right now. The idea that a CBP officer could search through your personal phone, your text messages, your photos, your emails, your social media, feels like an invasion of privacy. It feels wrong, and I completely understand that reaction. Our phones contain our most intimate communications, our personal relationships, our private thoughts. The idea of a government officer scrolling through all of that is deeply uncomfortable for most people. But here is the reality we are living in. At the border, the normal rules of privacy do not apply in the same way they do inside the country. And understanding this, understanding what CBP can do, what they are looking for, and how to protect yourself, is essential knowledge for anyone who travels internationally. As of date, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has implemented an updated policy framework for electronic device searches at ports of entry, including airports, land border crossings, and seaports. This updated policy, which builds on guidelines that have been in place since 2009 but have been significantly expanded in recent years, gives CBP officers broader authority to search electronic devices and clearer protocols for what they can do with the information they find. The changes have been reported by Reuters, The Wall Street Journal, and other credible outlets, and the official CBP policy directive is publicly available on the Department of Homeland Security website. So, what exactly are the new rules, and how do they differ from what was in place before? Let me break this down in plain language. Under the previous framework, CBP officers could conduct what was called a basic search of your electronic device without any suspicion at all. A basic search meant looking at the contents of your device, scrolling through your photos, reading your text messages, checking your apps, but not connecting it to any external equipment or downloading the data. If an officer wanted to conduct an advanced search, which involves connecting your device to equipment that can copy or analyze its contents, they needed reasonable suspicion that you had violated some law or immigration regulation. The new 2026 policy makes several significant changes. First, it expands the definition of what constitutes reasonable suspicion to include a broader range of potential violations. Second, it allows officers to retain copies of data from your device for longer periods, and to share that data more freely with other government agencies. Third, and perhaps most importantly, it establishes clearer protocols for what happens when something on your device suggests a visa violation, immigration fraud, or inadmissibility. And those consequences can now be triggered much more quickly and with fewer layers of review. Let me give you a concrete example to illustrate how this works in practice. Imagine a young woman named Sarah who is entering the United States on a tourist visa. Sarah is a graphic designer from Egypt, and she is coming to visit her cousin in California for 3 weeks. At the CBP inspection booth, the officer asks Sarah some routine questions. Purpose of your trip? Where are you staying? How long will you be here? Sarah answers everything correctly and honestly. But then the officer says, "Please unlock your phone and hand it to me." Sarah complies because she has nothing to hide. The officer scrolls through her text messages and finds a conversation with her cousin from 2 months ago. In that conversation, Sarah wrote, "I am so excited to come. Maybe I can find some freelance work while I am there. It would be nice to earn some extra money. That single text message is enough. The officer sees it as evidence that Sarah intends to work in the United States without authorization. Her tourist visa does not permit employment. The officer flags Sarah for secondary inspection, where she is questioned for 3 hours. Ultimately, Sarah's entry is denied. She is placed on a return flight to Egypt, and because she was denied entry, she now has a permanent mark on her immigration record that could affect her ability to get visas in the future. Was Sarah actually planning to work illegally in the United States? Maybe not. Maybe she was just daydreaming with her cousin about possibilities. Maybe she would never have actually taken a freelance job. But under the new CBP policy, it does not matter what Sarah would have done. What matters is what the officer found on her phone that suggested an intent to violate the terms of her visa. And that single text message, one casual comment made 2 months earlier, was enough to change the entire trajectory of Sarah's travel. This is the reality of the new phone search rules in 2026. And while Sarah's case involved a tourist visa, similar situations can affect green card holders, work visa holders, student visa holders, and even naturalized citizens in certain circumstances. Let me talk specifically about what CBP officers are looking for when they search your phone, because understanding their focus can help you prepare. The first thing they look for is evidence of visa violations, either current or intended. This includes any indication that you plan to work when your visa does not permit it, that you plan to stay longer than authorized, that you plan to attend school without a student visa, or that you have previously violated the terms of a visa. The second thing they look for is evidence of immigration fraud. This could include fake documents, communications about fraudulent marriages, discussions about using someone else's identity, or any indication that you have misrepresented yourself in an immigration application. The third thing they look for is evidence of criminal activity. This is broader than just immigration crimes. It includes any activity that would make you inadmissible to the United States, such as drug trafficking, terrorism-related activity, money laundering, or other serious offenses. The fourth thing they look for is evidence of national security concerns. This includes communications with known or suspected terrorists, involvement in extremist organizations, or any activity that suggests you might pose a threat to the United States. The fifth thing they look for is evidence of public health concerns. This is less common, but officers can look for evidence that you might be carrying communicable diseases or that you have been in areas with active outbreaks. Now let me address a question that I know is on many of your minds. Can you refuse to unlock your phone? The answer is complicated and depends on your immigration status. If you are a U.S. citizen, you have the strongest protections. CBP cannot deny you entry to your own country because you refuse to unlock your phone. However, they can detain you for extended periods, they can seize your device for further inspection, and they can make your life extremely difficult. Some civil liberties organizations recommend that U.S. citizens refuse phone searches to protect their constitutional rights. But this is a personal decision that involves weighing privacy against convenience and potential harassment. If you are a green card holder, the situation is more nuanced. You have a right to reside in the United States, and CBP generally cannot revoke your green card based solely on a refusal to unlock your phone. However, if there are other factors at play, if you have been abroad for an extended period, if there are questions about your continuous residence, if you have a criminal history, refusing a phone search can escalate an already complicated situation. And if an officer has independent grounds to believe your green card was obtained fraudulently, a phone search could provide the evidence they need. If you are entering on a visa, any type of visa, you have the weakest position. You are seeking permission to enter the United States as a guest, and that permission can be denied for many reasons. If you refuse to unlock your phone, CBP can deny your entry. Period. You do not have a right to enter the country, and refusal to cooperate with inspection procedures is itself grounds for denial. So, what should you do to protect yourself? Let me give you some practical steps you can take before your next trip. First, audit your phone before you travel. Go through your text messages, emails, photos, and social media. Look for anything that could be misinterpreted by a CBP officer who does not know you and does not have context for your communications. That joke you made about working under the table, delete it. That photo of you at a protest, consider whether it could raise questions. That conversation where you complained about wanting to stay in America forever, get rid of it. I know this feels uncomfortable, like you are preemptively censoring yourself, but the reality is that CBP officers make quick decisions based on limited information, and anything ambiguous can be interpreted against you. Second, consider using a travel phone. Some frequent travelers maintain a separate device specifically for international travel that contains only essential apps and communications. This is not about hiding anything. It is about not exposing your entire digital life to potential scrutiny. If you use a travel phone, make sure it does not look suspicious. An obviously wiped phone with nothing on it can itself raise red flags. Third, back up your phone and be prepared to have it seized. If CBP decides to conduct an advanced search, they may take your phone for days or even weeks. Make sure all your important data is backed up somewhere you can access without your phone. Know that you can continue your life without that specific device. Fourth, know your rights, but be strategic about exercising them. Yes, you can ask the officer if the search is mandatory. Yes, you can state that you do not consent to the search, but understand that exercising these rights has different consequences depending on your status. For visa holders, asserting your rights too aggressively can result in denied entry. For citizens and green card holders, it may result in seizure of your device and extended delay, but ultimately will not prevent your entry. Fifth, if you are selected for a phone search, remain calm and polite. Do not argue with the officer. Do not make jokes about what they might find. Do not volunteer information about what is on your device. Simply answer questions directly and truthfully, and let the process unfold. The calmer and more cooperative you are, the smoother the process will generally go. Sixth, if your visa is revoked or your entry is denied based on something found on your phone, ask for documentation and contact an immigration attorney immediately. You have the right to know the stated reasons for the denial, even if the specific evidence is not always disclosed. An attorney can advise you on potential appeals or strategies for future applications. Let me share another real-world example that shows a different dimension of this issue. I worked with a green card holder named Mr. Patel who was returning from a 3-month visit to India. Mr. Patel is 68 years old and has been a permanent resident for 12 years. At the CBP booth, he was asked to unlock his phone. The officer scrolled through his WhatsApp messages and found conversations with a business associate in India about importing textiles. The conversations were completely legitimate. Mr. Patel owns a small import business and was discussing potential shipments. But one message said, "Let us not declare the full value. We can save on duties that way." That single message triggered an intensive secondary inspection focused on customs fraud. Mr. Patel's phone was seized. He was questioned for 4 hours. His luggage was completely searched. Ultimately, he was allowed to enter, but his case was referred to ICE for further investigation, and he has been living in fear ever since, worried that he might face criminal charges for customs violations. Was Mr. Patel actually planning to evade customs duties? I do not know. But the point is that a text message, one line in a long conversation, was enough to trigger a major investigation that has changed his life. I want to address a few specific concerns that I hear frequently from seniors and new arrivals in our community. For seniors who may not be as comfortable with technology, you are not exempt from these searches. If you travel with a smartphone, tablet, or laptop, CBP can ask you to unlock it. If you do not know how to access certain apps, or if you have forgotten passwords, this can actually make the situation more complicated. Before you travel, make sure you know how to unlock your device and access your main apps. For those whose primary language is not English, be aware that officers may use translation tools to read your messages in other languages. Do not assume that a conversation in Hindi, Mandarin, Arabic, or Spanish will not be understood. CBP has access to translation resources, and they use them. For those who use messaging apps with disappearing messages or encryption, be aware that using these features can itself raise suspicion. I am not saying you should not use them. They are legitimate privacy tools. But understand that an officer who sees that you use Signal or Telegram with disappearing messages enabled may wonder what you are trying to hide. I also want to mention that these phone search policies are not unique to the United States. Many countries, including Canada, the United Kingdom, Australia, and members of the European Union, have similar or even more expansive policies regarding electronic device searches at borders. If you travel internationally, you should assume that your devices may be searched regardless of your destination. As we come to the close of this video, I want to leave you with a balanced perspective. Yes, the new CBP phone search rules represent a significant expansion of government authority at the border. Yes, a single text message can have serious consequences for your visa or entry. But for the vast majority of travelers who are entering the country legitimately, who have nothing to hide, and who take reasonable precautions, phone searches are either not conducted at all or are conducted briefly with no adverse consequences. The travelers who face problems are typically those who have something on their devices that genuinely suggests a violation or concern. The key is preparation. Know the rules. Audit your digital life before you travel. Understand your rights. And if you have any concerns about your specific situation, consult with an immigration attorney before your trip. If this video helped you understand the new CBP phone search rules and how to protect yourself, please take a moment to like it, share it with other travelers who might benefit, and subscribe to Immigration News Today with notifications turned on. I am monitoring these policy changes every day, and you will hear about any updates here first. Before I go, my standard disclaimer: everything I have shared today is for general informational purposes only. It is not legal advice. CBP policies can change, and your individual situation may have unique factors. Please consult with a qualified immigration attorney for advice specific to your case. Always verify information with official government sources, including the CBP website. Policy can change, and the information I provided is accurate as of date. Thank you for trusting me with your travel preparation. Protect your phone, protect your privacy, and protect your immigration status. My name is James, and this is Immigration News Today. Safe travels, and I will see you in the next video. Take care of yourself, and take care of each other.